Hey all, welcome back to my channel Higher Ready. In today's video, we are going to see about looping statements in Python. What simply is looping statements? This is the part where most of the people, when they start coding, they get confused when they come to looping statements. Because in looping statements, we need to understand the difference between types of looping statements. But that is where the confusion occurs. Because of a reason, we do have so many similarities. The structure of the coding and the syntax might look similar, but there is a big difference between two different loops in Python, for loop and while loop. First, let's see what simply is looping statements in Python. What is looping statements? If I want to complete a task, for that task, I need to repeat them number of times until the condition is being satisfied. So here I am repeating the task number of times until the condition is being satisfied. So here the looping is happening. I need to loop. I need to go through that until I satisfy the condition. So that simply is called as looping statements in Python. Repeating the task number of times until condition is being satisfied. So that is how you need to have a clear understanding, and you should never have confusions in this. What simply is looping statements? After you got an understanding, make sure you pause the video and post them on the comments. What is looping statements? Yes. So next to that, what is the difference between for loop and while loop? In Python, we generally have two different type of looping statements. One is for loop and the another one is while loop. What is for loop? If I know, so we have seen the difference, what is looping statements, right? Repeating the task number of times until the condition is being satisfied. But in this scenario, if I know the number of times the task need to be repeated, and that is when I will be using for loop in Python. So where will be using for loop in Python? If I know the exact number of times the task need to be repeated. So n value is obvious. That is when I need to use for loop in Python. But when I'll be using while loop, then what is while loop? When I don't have idea about the number of tasks, the number of times the task need to be repeated. But how will be doing the looping here? How I am going to complete it? Will it loop until my life ends? No, that's not how it works. Instead, until I satisfy a condition, if I repeat the looping process, if I constantly do the same repetition process until I satisfy a condition, that is called as while loop. To understand what simply is looping statements, let me give you one example. If I run my cafe or a restaurant, so there I'm a coffee maker. Let's consider I'm a coffee maker. What I will be doing then? So until the number of people comes to my shop, I'll be keep on making the coffee, and I will be repeating the task of making coffee. I'll be boiling the milk, I'll be making coffee. I'll be boiling the milk, I'll be making coffee. If another person comes, I'll repeat the process again and again, right? Until I close the shop, until the people stops coming. So that is how looping statements generally work. So what is the difference between for loop and while loop? Can you give one example for that? Let me give you simple example so that you will never forget what is for loop and while loop in your lifetime. What is for loop? How it works in real life? Now understand clearly, observe clearly. If I'm being as a teacher, I'm being as an AI trainer, let's consider that. So in that scenario, I have a class of 65 students. Today 60 students are present and they are sitting in front of me, and I'm taking attendance by calling their names. In that scenario, how I'll be addressing them and how I'll be marking it as absent or present. Absent or present. How I'll be doing that? I'll be calling the first student's name. If they are present, I'll be marking it as present. I'll be calling the second student's name, and if they are present, I'll be marking it as present. If I am calling the third student name, if it is present or absent, I'll be marking accordingly, right? Until I complete the 65 students list. So here I know the number of students in my class. 65 students are sitting in front, 60 students are there on my class. I'm taking attendance for 65 students. So 65 times I need to call out their names. So I know the number of times I need to repeat the task here, right? But for the same example, let's try to understand what is while loop and how it works. Today, let's consider it is a sports day. We have no idea about how many students will be coming. So I need to give attendance for the students. How many students are coming? So I have no idea about how many students will come. So I'm taking the list of whole school itself. So what I'll be doing? Until the students comes, until they keep on coming, I'll be giving attendance. I have no idea about total count. So some volunteers might come. So some new people from other colleges, other schools might come. So whomever comes, I need to add them to the list and provide that to the management. So I need to take attendance until the condition satisfied, until I see evening, until the school closes. So until the condition satisfied, I need to repeat the process of taking attendance. So that is how while loop works. In for loop, I know the exact number of times I need to repeat the task. But in while loop, I have no idea about the number of times I need to repeat the task. Instead, I'll be repeating the task until the condition is being satisfied. That is the difference between for loop and while loop. And if you have any doubts, without any hesitation, drop them on the comments. And for all your doubts, I'll be giving clarification. Bye for now. We'll meet you on part 2. In part 2, we'll be discussing about the syntax of for loop and while loop. And we'll be seeing real life examples through coding and how it works, even in AI and data science based projects. Bye for now. We'll meet you on part 2.